Hi, this is Colin from Watch Off the Cuff. Okay, we're continuing with the lathe, but as you can see, I don't have my jury-rigged lathe setup sitting on the bench right now because the next thing I need to do is, and I'm gonna have to figure out, I'm gonna try to figure that out real shortly, what I'm actually gonna do, whether I'm just gonna do a project, whether I'm just gonna throw a piece of brass rod in there, whatever. But this comes to the point, what am I gonna cut it with? So, in the watchmaker's estate, there was a number of gravers. So I have one here with kind of some makeshift handle, it looks like the previous guy did. And there's a few others in here. It looks like we've got a few others. This looks like just a squared off graver. It looks like he maybe just made these. And I'm assuming that maybe he cut them and then tempered and hardened them. I don't know. I don't know the history of it. There's another one here. He's got in a pin vise. But the question is, what am I going to do to sharpen and hone them? And we've got a couple of options. First of all, we could use a hard Arkansas stone, especially if the edge or the setup profile of the graver itself is reasonably good. This is about 1500 grit or equivalent to. And then there's also a black Arkansas stone as well, which tends to be about 2300 to 2500 grit. Now, if you don't have these Arkansas stones, I'm doing it because they're new to me, because at this point, I mean, I have a larger stone. Oh, now I'm gonna have to show it. I have a larger stone, a combination stone, I should say. Combination India stone here, which has got a medium grit and a fine grit on it as well. And that medium grit is coarser than that Arkansas stone. It's closer to the fine grit on there, but that's typically what I would use to do a significant amount of like honing, or if I was using like screwdrivers, I would use that. You know, obviously you can see that's seen some use. And then I would finish it off, and this is what I did, is that I ended up getting a clear clipboard because it was easy at the time, and then I just used some Gorilla double-sided glue on either side so they wouldn't go anywhere. Just on the end so I could use the flat of this, acrylic board. And then I have 400, 800, 1200, and 2500 on there, which if you're like, hey, you know what, I just need to pick up some rando, sandpaper to do some of the stuff, you could do that instead. And for a long time, this has been my go-to setup for doing anything. Like if I have to dress tweezers or redress screwdriver tips or anything like that, this has been my go-to setup. A good combination stone and then a number. And then when they get too worn out, then I just cut a new strip and then put it on. I think originally I ended up getting, I have part of one here. You can find a combination pack where they have a whole bunch of different grades in there. So it's got all the way P400, and I think that it goes pretty, I didn't even know where I've had this for so long, but if you're looking online, you're like, okay, what am I going to do here? This is an option. I think this goes down really, really fine. I'm trying to see what the last one is. So this one goes to 5,000. So it's got 400 all the way to 5,000 grit. And then I did 4, 8, 12, and I think I said that already, 2,500. So anyway, so that's the idea for that. So now I've got to dress this graver, and I'm going to take this one here. The profile is a bit of a teardrop shape, so it looks like you had a tool steel rod here, and then cleaved off one side and the other, and the end of it, if you can maybe see there, I'll do a close up, is a kind of a teardrop shape. And then the idea is it's going to go on the graver, and I'm going to have that one top edge there, the point going this way, and then I should be able to push that into material and get a reasonably good cut. So I'm going to change the camera angle. I will show up close, and I'll show you. I'm going to quickly hone this, and I'll show you the process for that. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, so here we are. So I've got this Arkansas stone. I have a little bit of mineral oil that I just put in a dropper here. Usually one drop or two is going to get the job done. We'll just start with one. Now I did find that when I set this up in manuals, watching videos, they usually say they want this graver at a 45-degree angle, and this is a little bit higher than this. It's like at a 60-degree angle instead. But anyway, so I'm just going to come in close. I'm going to show you the process. I'm going to anchor my hand as best I can. There is a couple of schools of thought. Some people say to do it side by side like this, and I've also seen in older manuals where they say to do it in an oval shape. You have to feel the flat because you don't want to round the edge. You're trying to get the end of this graver as flat as I can possibly get it, and not round it out. We want it completely flat, like you would, if you were doing a screwdriver blade or whatever. So
So anyway, so I'm just going to try to keep it as flat as possible. And then hopefully we can get a good edge going. I can see a little bit of black emerging, which is going to be removing some material. And I give this like a half go previously, so it would take a little bit longer than what I'm doing here. But I just wanted to demonstrate the process, and then we're good to go. So I'm gonna do the same thing here, and then when we've got that, we just want a little bit of hair in there. Jeez. Once we've got that figured out, I'll show you just the last kind of finishing. You just want to make sure that there's no rolled over burr edge on the blade itself. So if we go like this, and I'm just gonna go down this way as flat as I can. I'm just gonna make sure that there's no burred edge on the end of it there. Just gonna give it an inspection there. It looks like it's pretty good. I just don't want to wreck the edge at all, so I'm just gonna give it just a couple really light goes. All right, so there, we should be good. You can see that in the camera there, the profile that it is there. So we should now have a very good edge. Right across here, some of the old school manuals say take it and see whether it cuts and bears in. You know what, that's cutting that nail pretty good. And the tip itself is no problem pushing into my nail and cutting it. So we are good. So the next thing is we're gonna get, now that we got our graver set up, we're gonna figure out what I'm gonna try to cut. I almost know I don't want to do it on camera because I don't want to look like a fool. But I'm just gonna do it, and we're gonna just see what happens. I'm willing to put it out there and show my lack of knowledge. I mean, part of this is we're all learning together, right? So I hope that in the spirit of community and forgiveness, I could just show what I don't know and what that process looks like. Okay, enough about that. I've revealed all my insecurities. Let's get this lathe out and put a piece of material in it and see what we can do. All right, let's do it. Okay, here we go. So I just grabbed a 4mm piece of watchmaker steel stock. I've got a whole bunch of them kicking around. I got these lengths of pivot wire, for example. And I don't know what I'm going to do, but you know what? At the very least, I've got this piece here, and you can see the end of it's like kind of gnarled up. It's just a piece of like raw cut stock. So I thought, okay, you know what? If we can get that in there, I think I can get it far enough in there that I feel comfortable. This looks hollow, so I can get that in there. And I think I said this is 4mm. So we're going to grab the 4mm. Where's the 4mm? So we got a 4mm there, and then there's a flat in there in the threads. Let's just make sure we get it in there. Make sure we find the flat. I'm already looking like I don't know what I'm doing. Let's take a look and see where the flat is in there. I think the flat, I can see here, we want to get it through this thing, and I think that it's down in this part. But you know what? If this whole thing moves, it could be anywhere. Okay, so we're just going to go through. We're just going to be patient. I don't think so. I don't think that's it. Last thing I want to do is push it in the wrong way. There we go. Holy moly. Okay. Whew, stressing me out. Okay. So next, we're going to put the uneven end in here. And we've already mistaken this. We don't need this tailstock piece on at this point anyway. So we'll take this off. Okay, there we go. We got that. Okay. Piece thing. There we go. There, we're going to put it about there. Might as well get as close as we can. I'm going to hold this here. Pull it, not call it. Oh, that feels good. Okay. All right. So, we just mounted our first piece of material in the lathe. Oh my God. Okay. So let's get this here. It's going to be closer. This is going to be close. And this rest has got to come up. The graver is supposed to sit right at mid-level. So if I have this, let's see if we can mock this up a little bit. So if I have this graver here and it's going to sit, when I come in, okay, we're zooming in. Okay. So anyway, so the graver's got to sit like this, and then right now you can see it's way over the tool. So we got to be closer too. So we're going to come in closer, and then we're going to come in like this. So I think that if I go like that, right there,
That's going to hit it halfway. So I think that's where we need to be. I think. I don't know if we've whether I've got the rest close enough. Maybe a little closer. And then that'll probably end up meaning I have to raise. No, I think we're still good. Okay, so I'm going to lock that there. I'm going to lock that there. Okay. All right. And maybe the first thing, it's going to be a little bit choppy. I think I'm going to come in straight first so I can see what's going on. Holy moly. Okay. Now the question is, if I make an adjustment to the camera, is that going to be close enough for everybody to see? Okay, and I'm hoping the VFD makes a very, very small sound. So it's going ee a little bit, so I hope that isn't bugging everybody if you can hear that. Okay, all right, I don't know why I'm stalling. Okay, so we've got that. Okay, we'll do it we'll start this thing at a medium speed. And then let's just, I freshly lubricated it last time, so I think we're gonna be okay. We're gonna just do it for a short time. Okay, there we go. Okay, so here we go. So I've got mounted the graver here. I usually say it's like this. A little bit out of true actually at the end of this. Oh, it's actually cutting and not too bad. Oh, there we go. The end isn't. If I wrecked the edge already. I guess the question is, that's the last thing you want to do apparently is press the graver in and not be actively cutting, because it'll end up burnishing the tip and then making it very hard. But I think that I'm being too conservative right now, and I think that we need to speed this up a little bit. And I'm not really sure. I think maybe to square the end, oh jeez, I wasn't watching. I think maybe I need to be closer. I don't know whether let's stop it and see where we're at here. So it definitely cut. Wow, I guess the question is I have to turn this and then come in at the other side to square off the end, I guess, which seems like a reasonable thing to do, I guess. So maybe I should do that first, and I just want to take a look at the thing here itself, the graver, and see it seems okay. So yeah, so maybe we'll try to come in from the end. Next, see if we can just square off the thing. I'm going to zoom in a little more, see whether we can. Oh, I'm at maximum zoom right now, because I'm sure everybody wants to see what it's. So you sort of made it a little bit conical on the end there. But there's still a flat in the top here where it was just chopped off per se by just cutting it to length. Okay, so what I'm gonna do then, get all my yapping and just do something, is we'll move this down, and we'll move this down like this. We'll turn this all over, and this way. And if the graver sits like this, I think we're running about halfway there. I think that's good. Just gonna double check. Am I gonna be in? I don't want to put my face in the way if I'm trying to do it. So if I square it like that, I guess, yeah, it's still on the camera. Okay, so I just gotta watch this finger here. Try to keep that down as much as I can. Okay, we're gonna try. We're gonna go for this thing. We're gonna hit it again. Too much. I want to guide it, but I want everybody able to see. spattering a bit. I think it's the speed's the issue. Just speed it up a little bit. And then let's see where we're at here. And hopefully my finger didn't get in the way there. Okay, so how are we doing now? Okay, well, it's definitely starting to take off the part that's taut. You can see it's silver in color. It's getting rid of the oxidation or the black that was on the outside. It certainly is a slow process, but it's definitely removing material, that's for sure. And the graver looks like it's in fine shape and still looks pretty sharp. Okay, so we're gonna keep on going here. We're gonna hit this up, and I'm just gonna take a look and see what speed we're at here. So we're at 23 hertz. So that's gonna be blah 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 blah. That's gonna be maybe about 2,000 RPM. The motor itself is 3450 at 60 hertz, and we're giving it almost just shy of 30 or whatever. So I just want to keep that. Okay, there you can still see. I'm just experimenting with different pressures here. My finger's still in the way. How can I get that out of the way? That's a little better. Let's stop it again. Okay, all right, we're getting there. Okay. Interesting. I've never even turned a piece of wood in a lathe before, so that's about where we're at. I'm wondering if I could bring this up a little bit as well. Trying to experiment here with getting the best view. Now there's no view at all. Oh, here we go. So maybe this is better. Let me try that for the view. Okay, let's try that. And then I'm gonna try it again. And then I don't know, there's another, I have a knife style, but I don't have a holder for it. This is it here. Better bring it back here so you can see it in things. It's, but I don't have a holder for it, and I'm worried that if I try to hold that without a handle, I'm gonna end up taking off. If I slip, I'm gonna take off my finger. So I guess the other question is, and maybe my mistake was trying to do this. First, I'm gonna throw it up to 30. This is my total stream of consciousness here. I'm gonna go up to 30 hertz to turn this thing at about 1700 RPM, and we'll see if we can't get this thing zipped off to the front straight. Let's do that first. Okay, enough talking. Let's start. Let's do. All right, let's see how we're doing here. That's looking pretty good. I wonder if for the final bit I take this and I just push it right in. I don't know what the technique is. I'm so close to having it done though. We're gonna keep going. The speed definitely seems to be a little more appropriate. Make sure I'm doing as flat as I can. Let's see where we're at here. Oh, so close, so close. You can just see there's that little bit right there where it's still going here. Okay, let's do this. Let's see if we can get this thing finished up. Make sure I didn't wreck the edge there. But it feels different now, so I think that I've got it completely squared off. It's slightly conical, I have to admit, but you could feel the difference. Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness, wow. Okay, so then I guess the question I should do now is come back and we should turn it until we've got a step in it. So at least this portion is out. And I wonder if in that position I can run this way and get it completely square, because I don't think it actually is. Okay, so we'll pull this out. Get this away. Turn this way. In it goes. Check the height. I feel pretty good about that. Maybe a little higher. Okay, feels good. It's definitely felt like a sweet spot in terms of where it's actually going to cut or not. Okay, so we got that, and then we've got this cut. So I guess the question is, can I come in this way and square it? I don't know if I can. Try, I guess. And then I want to block it off so we can get rid of that little notch in there and then have a smooth shoulder. All right, let's do it. Doesn't seem to work very well. You can see a small kind of nipple in the thing, so it's definitely. I don't think that's the proper technique. All right, but let's see about cutting in a shoulder and getting rid of the. So I saw the proper technique they say for holding this is more like this. So that seems pretty satisfying. And I'm just wondering too whether the idea is on the end to get it flat, we just use a burnisher. Maybe that's the way to do it. So we still have a little bit of a notch in there, so we'll take this in a little bit more. But I'm definitely getting happier with the way that that cuts. Oh, I'm gonna do this too, because we were talking about how hot these things get, and this seems very cool. So okay, so we're good. So it's funny that I kind of was trying to find where, like, I felt like I was getting the back cutting angle, and as a result, it definitely, I found that it drew the graver into the material. So that's something I've got to watch out for. And you can see we've still got a little bit. So maybe what we'll do is I'll just chamfer that end, so at least it's cleared up. Let's try to do that. I can feel the unevenness. It's got to still be there for that. It's still a little bit there. All right, so let's keep on going. So it seems like when I come down here, we start to really bite, and I start to remove a bunch of material, but it doesn't. It seems very rough. So I wonder whether I've got the tool rest in the incorrect position. It needs to be up just a little bit, so I can. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think this tool rest is too low. I'm going to try that. Bring it up, and then we'll see whether that. That improves things. Come with the kind of correct angle, but not so far away. Get a little more stability. At this point, it's pretty rough, like conical cut there. So we'll just see if we can't straighten it out. So I think I feel like I'm getting some slight movement with the materials. I don't know whether it's just my imagination, but I thought like I was getting a little bit of. I think the material's walking a little bit inside this. I think it might be the wrong one. I don't know if you can see in the camera. I can see that kind of like a twisting here, and I just wonder whether it's working itself out. It seems to be coming out this way. Is it coming out that much? Okay, so I'm gonna change the collet. All right, I think what else I'm going to do here is I'm just going to quickly just rehone this graver a little bit too. So anyway, I'm just going to like, I don't know where you put it. Anyway, early in the video, so I'm just going to do it real quick here. All right, gave it a quick cleanup. Let's see if we can't clean off the shoulder a little bit here. So I don't know. Like it seems like when I go kind of below this cross line, and maybe in this case I was on it. Maybe the problem is I'm just rolling above it with the new position here. Yeah, maybe that's maybe that's the way it's supposed to go. So also I've got these burnishers. I'm gonna put these in here. So I'm gonna see if that is maybe our next step here, and maybe to take off this bit on the end. So we'll get this out of the way. if I'm doing a good job finding the flat on it or not. It's definitely a feel thing. It definitely comes into play when you're first honing screwdrivers as well, to like if you're trying to feel the flat. But I feel like this is flattening it out. There's some being sloppy there. This side appears to be a little coarser. Now the question is, do you do it? So I've said you can do it over if it's running towards you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the direction. I think the visibility is easier when you do it under. It's just my guess. You can see it, and then you don't have to worry about the weight of this affecting the feel. You're pressing into it from the other way around. So let's just see whether that makes any easier here. Seems better. Okay, what other tools, what other gadgets we got here? I think there's a finer one here. There is on the other side. Put this case on. Just experimenting with all of these things. It looks like this edge is used as well. And you can see how much skill is required. I want to make sure I'm hardening the surface by burnishing it, I guess, too, is the other problem. Interesting. So there's still a little bit of a notch where I haven't cleaned that out all the way. And it's, I don't know, it's pretty ugly. Like, it's not, yes, have I cut it? Everything seems pretty swirled and notched. And I don't know whether it's a touch thing, and maybe it is. Maybe the idea is I need to come back and get rid of this little bit here, and and see. I mean, the other thing is on top of that, outside of just trying to, figure out how to do it. Could you just imagine at this point me trying to make a precision part, and then trying to make sure I've got everything lined up and perfect, and yeah, it seems very. Well, it's like a lot of this stuff, like it requires a significant amount of skill, right? So anyway, I'm gonna see if I can just clean this up. It's still so rough, and the edge, I still haven't taken out that little bit on the end here. See, now it doesn't seem to be wanting to cut at all, and I wonder whether I've gone and burnished and hardened those ends. Now it's going to be very hard to cut. Yeah, because now it doesn't seem to want to cut at all. Oh, I know what I've done. Haha, you ding dong. I've got it going backwards. That'd explain it. I've probably taken the edge off the burnisher too. Rookie mistake. I'm just flipping around my leads. Let's just give it a quick go and see whether that fixes it. Oh, yeah, it's amazing how it cuts. I need to do it the right way. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting the hang of it a little bit. I'm cutting some steps. The material. still seems, the cuts seem awfully rough. Okay, so we did a bunch of goofing around. Okay, in recap, man, we sharpened a graver. We were able to cut some material. I still think, and I'm struggling to get a really good, clear, crisp with the camera of the finish that's on there. I mean, I think I need a little bit of figuring out how once I do these rough cuts, how I smooth it out. And it might be me not sharpening the graver enough. Or whether I just need to use a file or burnisher when I'm done to smooth out the surface, which I don't want to burnish it unless I'm sure that's going to be the finished surface, because it'll it will inherently harden that surface a little bit as well. So and then put it in reverse, do the burnishing, and I forgot to do it or whatever. So I think my next step is and the other thing too is, this doesn't have a cross slide, So for example, if I was working on my milling machine, I can just like index things along with some kind of like cutting tool. It would be easier, So again, I think that I got to figure out what my first project is going to be, what I'm actually going to make on this lathe. But outside of from part one, we got out the lathe running, albeit we got on this really like temporary kind of wood stand in the meantime. But we put a piece of material in there. We shaped the end of that material, squared off the end, got rid of the notch that was in it from when it was just rough cut into a length, and then put a couple of shoulders in it, to see what they. So I mean, I think that was a success. I learned a few things here, just even a feel thing in terms of how it's going to cut. And I think the next thing is like, okay, what am I actually going to make with this thing? But super thrilled and exciting. I know some of that was like me just floundering around, but anyway, as always, thank you very much for watching. We'll definitely do a part 3 on this. And with that, we need to start on what are we going to actually make with this thing that's of practical use. The question is, are we going to make a watch part, or am I going to make a watch tool that I could use for something else? So I guess that's my next piece of homework without making this video. I mean, I can go on and on talking about all the stuff about this without having this video 3 hours long. I don't know how else I'm going to have to edit it down. Anyway, thank you. I will see you again soon. We're going to figure out a real project. I'm going to take a look at some of the other gravers that are here and think about what their practical use can be, why the original watchmaker had them in his toolbox, so to speak, and we can figure out what their use is. And I also need to do a little bit of reading as well. So until next time, watch off the cuff. Cheers.